Ladies and gentlemen, everyone around and in between, this is DebateSensei CEDA edition, where we talk about things relevant to competitive cross-examination debate. I have with me the director of debate at Cal State Long Beach, Deven Cooper. Thank you so much, Deven, for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me.
All right. Hey, we are actually doing a season 2, episode 1, season 2, and we're coming full circle. So a few changes, but one of the things that we're kind of keeping the same is the first episode being, I think the first episode, oh, maybe not, but like one of the early episodes being just the limits of the topic and kind of understanding it. All right. And so I wanted to start off with the topic selection process, though, and how to apply to this particular topic. Where we left off, the topic area was announced. It was a climate change topic, but the actual wording of the resolution had not been discussed. And so there's this entire process, and I think it might be good to review that. So looks like there was 6 topics submitted. Yes. Is that normal?
For topic wording, yes.
Yeah, for a number of topics, like options.
Oh, for the number of resolution.
Number of resolutions. Sorry. Yeah.
So like that number is pretty standard, like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm. And this process is a process of elimination, right? Like you rank order the stuff. Can you?
Yeah.
Just like,
we do 1 through 6, 1 through 7 as a team. Because first we voted on the topic area, then the topic committee will meet. And they will like craft resolutions, and then those resolutions get put onto a ballot through our CEDA website, and then we all have to submit the ballot for the topic wording.
Okay. Who puts together the wordings of each of these 6 topics?
Topic committee.
Okay.
All the people that have been elected to CEDA executive board, and also people who have been elected to the topic committee, like the student rep and the grad student rep, and like the other folks on the board.
Okay. How many people are on that committee about, roughly?
Like 6 or 7.
Okay. So you get 6 or 7 people. They put together 6 topics, different wordings and things like that. Sends it out to all the participants. Now, how do you qualify as a participant? You have to enroll in a tournament?
You have to pay your dues.
To pay the dues. Got it. All right, so you got a dues-paying members of schools, each getting 1 vote, and then they rank order them, and it does a process of elimination.
Yep.
All right. So I don't want to go over every single one of them, but I do like covering the first one that got cut, and that was because it only got 1 ballot. I wonder, I'm curious who that 1 ballot was. But when I'm like, all right, which one got cut first? And then I look at this, and my mind is fine until I get to the minimum interregional transfer capacity requirement section there. Do you have any idea what the hell that is?
No
idea.
I mean, I feel like the reason why people have like all these different iterations of the resolution is to try to wheel the topic into a particular area of ground, so that there's a lot of ground for people to discuss certain things on the affirmative and negative. And I guess like that, if it was like establishing a minimum, ITCR, then I think that would mean that all the affirmatives at minimum would have to do that. Or do the market-based instrument. So you had to choose at minimum to do one of those things.
Okay, so it's I'm just getting the bare minimum background on this. It's a rule that sets the minimum amount of power that can be transferred between regions of a power. That seems very limiting. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like, these kids don't want to debate about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like the market-based instrument could be a number of things, but this minimum interregional transfer, like you even gave it the acronym ITCR. Okay, a minimum ITCR. Yeah, that seems really limiting. Okay. All right, cool. Anyways, that was the one that got cut first. It got 1 vote from the looks of it. And then it got cut. And so you go down, and I think that it gets between resolution 4, which gets picked, but then there's resolution 6, which was the runner-up. when it comes down to the one that was picked and this one, if you were to wager a guess why people were choosing, or did not choose this one, what do you think might have been the reason?
This topic wording right here is similar to one that we had already. I
Oh,
feel
okay.
like I was a freshman in college when this was a topic. Like
Okay.
it was like non-governmental consumption of fossil fuels. That was definitely, I feel like, the exact wording of the topic I had in my
Oh,
freshman year of college.
okay. Okay. So, like, you think that like people with some institutional memory might have been voting against
Mhm.
it? All right.
Yeah, if you were debating in the early 2000s, you will remember that
Yeah.
was
Okay. And that
one
ain't
of the.
that long ago. So yeah. Oh man. All right.
It was like 20 years ago.
20 years, man. You believe that? 20 years. Anyways.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So between that one and topic number 4, which is the one that finally that made it through. This is the one that got picked, so everyone can um, ruminate on this one. The United States federal government should adopt a clean energy policy for decarbonization in the United States, including a market-based instrument, including. So it's not the or on that one. It's like
Mhm.
energy policy,
So
including.
you gotta include that as a requirement of an affirmative if you're a straight up policy team. So
So it's
yeah.
like they want the cap K, right? When they're writing this one, it's like it
I
seems.
mean, the cap K is going to be on any topic that you choose.
Yeah, it's just like this one's like on a freaking silver platter, right? It's
Yeah, cap K, neoliberalism, racial capitalism, all of that.
right.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go step by step. Should adopt a clean. Now, I saw different ways of phrasing the policy. So some of them were a this one's clean energy, and some of them was a climate change policy. Do you think those two different sort of introductory phrases, those adjectives, really matter in the overall strategies that come out of those little new?
Uh, I think so.
Oh
I
yeah.
think clean energy narrows the terrain a lot more than just the climate policies. The
Oh,
climate
okay.
policy is a lot more inclusive of a lot of things.
Okay.
Clean energy policy is kind of like direct term of art that you can, look up how that relates to decarbonization.
Okay. Okay.
Because that's kind of like the implication is that like it's for decarbonization. Like all climate change policy isn't exclusively about decarbonization.
Right. Right. Okay. I mean, because climate change could be just adapting to climate change. It's not necessarily like it could be like
Yeah.
building the
But this
levee.
topic is not really fully about adaptation.
Yeah. Right. This is okay. I appreciate that though. Like on the affirmative, like it kind of creates a little burden of proof. That's kind of classic debate. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
energy for decarbonization. Now, the fact that the goal is decarbonization, like because you can have clean energy policy for a number of reasons other than decarbonization as well. So that's somewhat similar. Does that mean that the solvency story for every AF has to include decarbonization?
Yep.
All right. They're trying to like lead the first speeches that way through the.
Yeah, and then trying to literally determine what the terrain is of how we're going to debate this topic,
Right. Right.
particularly if you are a instrumentality based plan.
Right. Okay. Instrumentality. Okay. Base plan.
Like,
Explain that one a little bit more.
well, just like if you're enacting an instrumental policy,
Okay.
that's just
Oh.
it. So like K teams are not necessarily going to do that
Okay.
unless they're like a critical act that has some type of almost impossible plan, but that could be a thing.
So that'd be like instrumental as in contrast to like terminal. Is that
Well, instrumental in contrast to not having a plan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Or not having a plan that is based in the wording and direct topic of the resolution.
Got it. Okay. So that's like a built-in. answer to a K right there a little bit, huh?
And for framework, yes.
Yeah, for framework. Gotcha.
Like plan focused debate.
Got it. Um, I skipped USFG and I skip US usually. I don't like that. Do those become central in any debates that you come by? Like as
Not that I come by.
right, yeah.
Like,
Like I didn't think, I'm just kind of
I mean,
instinctual.
I feel like a lot of the literature was going to say federal government, so it's just like, why
Yeah,
U.S.? It's like, what's
yeah.
the point?
Does anybody do like states-based counterplans anymore? That doesn't
Yes,
seem like. Oh, they do?
yes. I'm pretty sure people ran the state's counterplan in Northwestern.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Northwestern.
Well, yeah. One of the rounds that I judged, they ran the 50 states counterplan. Yeah.
Really? They're like so they
For
run
carbon tax.
Okay, do they run a FISM and then a states counterplan?
Well, they said the DISAD that they use as the external net benefit was elections. So they ran states counterplan because clearly that's the states doing it and not the federal government, so it doesn't get perceived as a particular, partisan party like that would cause the trigger of the elections DISAD. So they ran 50 states, said 50 states should enact the carbon tax.
Okay. And so it's a politics disadvantage essentially, and then that's what makes the counterplan competitive. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's the first tournament. You know what I mean? I might be prepping something like that myself. I'll be honest with you. Like if I'm stuck, you know what I mean? It's like you go for the classics. Anyways. So okay. So that's where it like it has like a built-in federalism. Okay. United States, including a market-based instrument. Okay. So that phrase instrument, does that have any sort of unique meaning or usage in this context? Because it seems like an interesting word to include there.
Well, that just means like the mechanism of your plan, like what you're
Right.
using as a way to like penalize like particular entities that are doing like negative carbon actions.
Okay.
So like that market-based instrument will be the thing that is guiding your affirmative as to what you're going to do to change the policy, particularly like if you're going to do like a cap and trade or
Okay.
carbon tax or removing subsidies, which is probably arguable with topicality, but
Right. Removing subsidies. Okay. Enact a policy rather. Yeah. Adopt.
like some people like honestly only like the very very top of the people that are debating the policy aspects of this are really going over like a lot of the topicality stuff like and going for that as an argument. Like some people will just like introduce it as like a way to like force them to say something so you can get a link to like a dissad or something. But like I remember in the semifinals of Northwestern, Kansas versus Michigan, Kansas went for topicality.
Okay.
So that was a cool thing. And so Kansas won on a 3-0. So I don't know how many topicality debates were had this past weekend, but that was like one of the ones at the highest level. So
yeah, like okay. Well, we'll take a closer look at that when we're doing a recap. Are we doing a recap of that one? Well, we'll have to take a look. We might be doing a recap of that one. So okay. It almost sounds like people are supposed to find some sort of well, I mean, cap and trade isn't a product, but that's where my mind went initially, and it was seemed kind of silly. I'm like, are people supposed to find some sort of clean energy product and then like we're supposed to like subsidize it? Like what does that mean? So
I mean, a lot of the affirmatives were, cap and trade or
okay.
disincentivizing fossil fuels of some kind and or carbon pricing in general more so.
Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about what it doesn't necessarily need to be like what people did talk about, but what does that mean people can run? on this one, other than like cap and trade is the easiest one, it seems like, and it seems really.
Well, I think carbon tax is the one that is the most popular,
Oh,
with
cutting carbon tax.
various like add-ons to it and stuff, or carbon dividends and all that. Like those particular things. Well, allegedly with the carbon dividends, it's supposed to like help poor folks that are suffering from climate poverty and things of that nature, giving them a check.
Okay.
Um, in the form of like a rebate or whatever other instrument that people want to make up. But you know, a lot of people ran those particular affirmatives. Like I haven't gone through the entire wiki yet, but some people have done other things that are like in the direction of the topic that were straight up policy.
Okay.
But oftentimes people that will go against a K team, they'll do an act that's probably untopical,
Oh,
literally,
really?
because the K team is not usually going to go for T.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so they just run a non-topical that has like maximum impacts. So at the end of the
That have
round.
maximum or very soft, light impacts, like just
Yeah.
climate change equals
Yeah.
extinction.
Uh-huh.
Or like this particular group is oppressed and they are calling for like this particular bad thing to stop.
Okay.
And they think the government should stop it.
And then they just straight up just debate framework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the impacts. But like the thing is that I really believe that a lot of these K teams need to just start running T against these folks and forcing them. Like, and that's what I'm starting to think about. What we're going to probably do is we're going to start running T, and have really strict interpretation, and debate it like flat out. So that's what I think is going to happen, because
Okay.
that's what people are going to do against us. They're going to keep reading AFs that are not directly topical or don't really have a market-based instrument,
Yeah.
right? Because we're not going to be like, oh, you need to have a market-based instrument. Like, you know, it's like, okay.
So, what's the general field that would talk about market-based instruments? Like, where would you find this literature? This is
Just in the climate policy, climate adaptation, carbon pricing, all those particular strands, like in any journal that talks about environmental affairs or
okay.
Environmental management, environmental ethics, like all those particular places.
Okay.
And then
Market-based.
even some like government like websites that would be talking about like what we should do as a rollout plan for stuff.
Okay, so do you have an example of something that would not be a market-based instrument but might still be considered clean energy? That's why, like, thinking about like the limits of this topic or where you would like how. Yeah, just even in.
I mean, well, one of the things could be dealing with like a particular form of energy that might still have absorbent uses of like fossil fuels.
Okay.
Like, so I think that like, I don't think like if we were to say, like read an act that says we should implement wind turbines, blah, 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 at a particular place, I don't think that would be topical.
Okay.
Like I don't think that we should like produce more hydroelectric plants or something like that. I don't think that would be, I mean, because that would be like clean energy, right? Because it's like renewable energy, but it's
right.
It's like not a market-based instrument.
Right. I mean, that would be like public works. And okay.
Yeah, like investment in wind turbines or investment in nuclear energy. So I don't really know about the nuclear aspect in regards to what apps people might run. I do think that I think the app that Michigan ran had to do with fission or fusion or something. I didn't watch the entire debate, but I feel like that was the app. And then Kansas read T and went for it, and they won. So obviously, whatever the three judges thought is that the AF wasn't topical in that regard. So there could be things around that particular nature that people will read against K teams,
Right.
because K teams are not going to really call out that particular thing.
Yeah. So it seems like all these market-based instruments are like financial instruments, right? There's not like um, investments in certain industries that are energy or anything like that. Or like it's just like literally the stock market. Like they're creating a stock market
Yeah,
for.
like the green economy, and just like overarching green investment and routes to try to augment the dangerous effects of climate change.
Okay.
So, and just like decarbonization in general is trying to like produce less GHGs, that
Mhm.
is put into the atmosphere.
Well, on the negative, you already alluded to people running states counter plans for this
Hmm.
on that one with the politics disadvantage. What are I don't know. What are some other really predictable areas that people can like enter into this debate with on the negative?
They could do they could not do a market-based incentive. I mean, sorry, market-based instrument to solve the AF in some form or fashion. Because remember, um, a counterplan that has a different method that isn't that market-based instrument could be a way to solve the AF as well.
All right.
Because that's kind of like what the affirmative has to do, but a negative doesn't have to do that. The negative can carve out another strategy that isn't steeped in that. Or
So,
they could use a different market-based instrument, but
so I was just looking up like what a non-market-based instrument might be, and is anyone calling it command and control policies?
yes, that could be a command and control counterplan. That could be a
Okay.
thing as well.
So,
I haven't seen all of that because like most of the rounds that I judged at the at the tournament were clash debates.
okay.
They were mostly clash debates. I only had one debate that was not a clash debate, and it was like straight up team. Oh, and there was the doubles. When I judged doubles, it was like a KVK debate.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I had one round that I believe was George Mason
Hmm.
versus someone else. I can't remember, but UTD maybe, I don't know, one of them. But one of them read a F that was about fossil fuels of some kind and like
Okay.
having an environmental justice requirement or something. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah.
I'm wondering if command and control counterplans though don't they like suffer from a lack of competition a little bit? Like
I
they're
mean,
confirmed.
you can find any type of dis ad. I mean, also
Yeah,
there's also going to be consult counterplans that might
got it.
exist. There also could be relations dis ads,
Mm,
uh, because China comes up quite a bit in this topic, and there's
mm,
a lot of competition-based arguments with China. Some of the affirmatives will talk about climate leadership or green leadership, and they'll be like, "Oh, China is starting to outpace us," or "China is steadily getting upon us, and we need to do this thing in order to like try to not cause more emissions."
yeah, right, right,
And
right.
it's like they devolve down into like resource wars, water wars, all of that stuff, trade wars. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, like it's definitely trying to call in just a heavy economics debate all year long, right? I mean, it's not
Yeah.
only is clean energy in and of itself, but market based instruments like is really making sure that it's like heavy econ theory.
Mm-hmm. It
Yeah.
is, which is annoying. Yeah, but some people like really debating that.
Okay.
But over in K land, I don't think that's necessarily what a lot of those debates were about.
Right. Right. Well, speaking of critiques, you already mentioned like the cap K, right? Just being really easy. Now, do people run like counter plans with a K, or is it they just?
It could,
Yeah,
but they have to choose which route they want to go in the 2NR. So either you're going to go for the K with case defense or offense or both,
right.
or you're going to go for the counter plan in a disad, or just a disad.
Because it seems like a command and control counter plan with a cap K would be perfectly concordant. It would,
Not, I
yeah.
mean, not on face, but like, but like in the 2NR, you have to make a decision between those
Right.
things.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, what? I don't know. Well, so it's like we're looking like we might have a bit more topicality this year. Than
I mean, it depends, because if some people try to step out of what the larger conservative, traditional policy based teams want, they will read T and they will figure out like
yeah.
what the consensus is, because there's going to be different levels of consensus about what is topical and what is not. And also, people can make arguments just like why they think it should be the consensus, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because you got to prove an abuse story of some kind, or what
Right. Right.
ground do you not get, or how do you lose particular, or how do you explode the research burden for the negative.
Okay. Um, so we got on the net. We got like look into topicality a little bit. You got to get some of your good econ theory. But so what would be like a pretty predictable non-econ theory based critique do you think would come out against this?
Oh, the countless of ecologies.
Okay. What's that?
There's like deep ecology,
Uh,
there's queer ecology, black ecologies, black geographic ecologies, there's feminist ecologies, ecofeminism,
okay.
right? All these different things.
Okay.
There's arguments that criticize geography, like critical geography arguments.
Oh, cool.
Um, of course, there's Afropass still. There's
Yeah.
settler colonialism, right? There is de-development, like
Oh, yes. Oh my
yeah,
God.
primitivism. I think that's what they call it sometimes, but I could be wrong on that. But like people that are making development criticisms. That, like, I think, what's her name? Vandana Shiva, I think, would be one
Yes.
of the
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my
Oh my
God.
God.
I
This is a
wonder if
blast
she's
from the
still
past.
I wonder if she's still alive. Oh my gosh, she has to be like up there at this
Well,
point.
we'll talk about authors on this topic in a few weeks. Yeah, like it'll give us some time
Oh,
to
she's
her.
71. She's still alive. Oh my
Oh,
God.
cool, cool, cool.
She has to be writing about climate change, I would hope.
Oh yeah. All right. Hey, do you think it takes a little time for like K teams to adapt to a topic like this, or is it the same amount?
No, I
No.
think so. This is the thing that I did. I researched over 200 articles for my students and I sorted them into different Dropbox folders. Um, One that was like climate and decarbonization articles, one that was like blackness arguments, black femme arguments, gender and feminism arguments, cap arguments, um, environmental justice arguments, right? Because all of those things become like levels that you can make criticism from. Now, sadly, I don't think that they have processed all of those articles, even though I did this at the beginning in the middle of the summer. But
Getting called out.
there's a lot of stuff there. I actually started reading some of the articles on the plane ride back, and there's like really good feminist criticisms in this
Ah,
topic, like
okay.
really good ones.
Excellent.
But
Excellent.
I don't know if people are going to necessarily read those things on my team. I mean, I do have a student who's very interested in Black ecofeminism, but we'll see where that goes.
Okay. Well, this is a great sort of like broad strokes over the topic. Thank you so much, Deven, for helping me wade through it and answering my questions. So, we are going to kind of go through our same process this season as we did last season, maybe a couple less episodes, but I look forward to doing this in the future. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.